Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Think Your Way to an Epic Life. Does prospecting feel like a grind to you? Calling people and chasing leads and feeling like you're getting nowhere? Today we're breaking it down to easy to follow steps, and you're going to have a lot of fun because I have Mr. Bill Crespo, who is a fellow coach at the Coaching Nexus, and he's the creator of Power Prospecting. And it is a 2-day program where Bill has helped individuals and companies, thousands of people, increase their profitability anywhere from 25% to 100%. Absolutely incredible stuff, and not by being pushy. That doesn't work. His systems, his tools are absolutely amazing. I hope you enjoy this podcast. Bill Crespo, thank you for joining me.
I'm excited. Thanks.
Thank you. It's good to have you. So you are the lead gen dude. Hands down, that has been your thing for how many years now?
Well, it's been a long time. Well, being in the real estate for 40 years and probably training and coaching for 30 and then nationally coaching for 20. And then the last probably 10 or 12 years traveling, doing the power prospecting workshop around the country.
Yeah, so that's you've got your finger on the pulse in a big way. And so our folks have come here and they want to know, how do I get leads? What do I do? How do I get them? How do I convert them? All that stuff. So we're just going to kind of go through some steps. What
Great.
would be step one?
Well, I think we have to come to the conclusion, first of all, when you're lead generating, is that are you getting enough business from what you're doing now? So step one, you're analyzing where you are. Where is it coming from? We should be in five minimum sources. I mean, that you should be in five. So if you're using your center of influence, your database is one. Like I'm coaching a person right now who their business has really gone down by 50% because of the fact that they put all their eggs in one basket, and center of influence and database are just not delivering right now, right? The market is kind of doing some strange stuff. So then that means you've got to go out and find people and turn them into people you like or friends, and you're going to end up calling strangers. So you've got to know the numbers. What's the percent of business you're getting out of your sources? And is that enough to sustain your present business? That's number one. And then number two is where we're going to find and what other sources are you going to use to find business. So I think that's going to have to be the first step to analyze where we're going next.
Okay, so you and I are both coaches and we're both big believers in coaches.
Yep.
How important would that step be for someone?
Well, it's a big step. I've paid for coaches for a very long time. I have a coach now, and it's just the fact that um, your ego will let you know that you don't need a coach. You just don't need one, right? Because you know what to do. Now, if you knew what to do, you'd be doing it. And so every great athlete, every great person in business, in most cases that have hit a certain level of production in their life, has had some type of mentor slash coach slash consultant, right? So it's going to be important right now. I think the market is never going to go back to what it was. You're seeing complete metamorphosis taking place. And I think that almost like the frog in the kettle, people are not realizing that. And agents and people in business aren't realizing it. So a coach could give you that 30,000-foot view and kind of direct you. It's almost like a canoe in a river. And if you go that way, you're going over the falls. And if you go this way, we're going to go into clear, calm waters. But that view is from 30,000 feet. And that's what we provide. And I think it's essential for me. I need it. And I know the clients need it right now, especially.
Gosh, I do too. It really is amazing. Okay, so you don't just count on one source. You need a bare minimum five.
Yep.
Um, so what would be the other four that you would pick for most businesses?
Well, I could tell you one that a lot of people are not using. Well, let's go back to in real estate. If we're going to talk just in real estate, I'm talking there's going to be expireds, there's going to be for sale by owners, there's going to be calling around your listings. This has been around for a long time. And people know this. And agents, you already know this. The problem is that you're not doing it. And it's that ability to get onto that, get back on the bike or get on the saddle and start to make these calls. The other really neat area that I think that is, I have a client in Southern Cal that's doing it, is probate. Unfortunately, probate gives you an edge to the competition that's looking for leads. So um, you're going to have to make calls to strangers. You're going to have to meet a stranger that you don't know and turn them into a lead that turns into business for you. And that whole act of calling a stranger freaks out people. It makes people nervous of calling someone they don't know. And so the reason that happens is because we're too busy wanting to be liked first than trying to make a call to someone that we don't know and understanding the nuances involved and the steps involved there to make a call to a stranger. Because I think that we've been taught to be awfully pushy and salesy. That's the way you got to do it. You got to be a hard closing person. And I don't believe that. I don't think that's necessary in this day and age. The consumer is very educated. They want to feel that you understand them. And so there's a process of doing that.
So people, I think, also are afraid to call the people they know as well.
Yeah.
They've
Oh,
just
yeah.
got call resistance all around.
All around.
So how do you help someone who just is scared to death to pick up that phone? How do you help them pick up the phone?
Uh, First, I think we need to actually understand that there's four basic personalities out there, and you're one of them. I'm one of them. You know, everybody's a personality. From there, you've got to know that there's another one that you typically have some difficulty with, and the other two you're cool with. I mean, you could actually have a conversation. There may be two that have some difficulty, but once you arm yourself with understanding personality styles, you don't get so upset when someone is giving you a hard time because you know it's the personality. It's not really you. And I think we take it personally. Even your clients, when they actually give you a hard time about something, it's not always you. It's just that's their personality. And you got to have to understand that and then know how to work through that. So I'm a real strong proponent of DISC. Because I've been using that for 15 years. So you first need to understand what is my personality? What is your personality? And where do I have my challenges in dealing with other personalities? Once you understand that, then you have to work on that. That helps you to give you some strength and confidence when you're making those calls on the phone or meeting someone at the door or in person. And then once you get that going, um, you know, you're not so taking it so personally. You know, I mean, if you have kids, you've been rejected all the time, right? You know, if you have, uh, I have six, so believe me, on any given day when they were little or as they grew through teenager life, I was rejected, you know, by one of them, you know, that month. So if we're okay with that, then you're now going to want to find out what the true pain is in that individual. Because when someone says, and I ask this question a lot to people, when someone says, I want a big house, and I ask the person or the client, so tell me what was the pain that that person was in? Well, they're in a small house, they want a bigger house. That's not the pain. That's a very surface pain. That's right at the top. And a way of understanding what that pain is by doing something I call a reverse, right? So you would say something like this. So Bob, I'm sure you could live here for another 5 years and you will have no problem living here, right? If the house doesn't sell in time, right? Okay, now what human nature is, no, let me tell you why you're wrong, Bill. And let me tell you why living in this house is going to cause this to happen to me, or we're planning on having another child, or whatever it is. You start to get deeper in understanding the true reasons why they want to move. And we haven't been trained to take the time to understand that essence of pure pain or motivation that that person has. And once we get that, no other salesperson has done that with us. And so they go, you know what? You really get me. You understand. So I would say something like, well, Bob, you know, so this is not just about getting a bigger house. This is about, let's just say, you're going to have a child. And so this is a whole new chapter in your life. This house doesn't give it to you. So this move is just a whole new chapter, isn't it? Oh, yes, it is. And now we're in a new relationship. We've brought down that invisible fence that typically is between a salesperson and a prospect, and they now relax. And now we're able to move forward in the process in trying to close them for whatever. And typically, the best close is the one you never have to give. They give it themselves because you've done such a good job in the initial conversations.
I
That
love
makes
it. I love it. So there's the old style scripts and strategies and all that kind of stuff. But how important is mindset before you make that call?
Well, that's yeah. I think it's very important because I read a book called Alter Ego by Todd Herman. It's a great book on how you need to be in the ideal performance state, right? The IPS. So by putting yourself in the right mindset, which is the right performance state, you're ready to make those calls. Because I listen, I was there. I look at a phone number, or all of a sudden there's a couple more zeros at the end of the price, and you start freaking out. You start to know a little bit about their personality. You never even met these persons, so all these crazy things go in your head, right? And then this is not me, so now the imposter syndrome comes on. That why am I calling this? I don't have that type of experience. So there's a lot there. So in Todd Herman's book, he talks about the imposter syndrome and how you transform for the field of play. If your field of play is going to be, I got to make a call, then you've got to almost go into that phone booth like Clark Kent and transform. And football players do it, top executives do it. So it's something that can be trained. And so getting the right mindset is is key. I mean, I remember years ago speaking at a breakout session when I was with KW, and it was my first, like, over the years they'd put me in a 250 room breakout, 350 room breakout, 500, and then it's me and one of my speaker friends in a room that both hold 1,000. And he's been doing it a little bit longer than me, and I go, crud, I'm right against him, and I probably have nobody. So all the stinking thinking comes in, and now I'm looking at the room. There's 1,000 seats, and I'm going, what is going on? And I could start melting down really quick. So I decided, well, I'm going to go to the back of the room and go to the last chair and kind of meet the person, or just sit there and just look at that chair, look at where I'd be standing and talking and starting to kind of own the room. And then I met the girl sitting in that last chair back there. I forgot her name. So when I was on stage, I started feeling comfortable because I started projecting out to her. But I had to say to myself, listen, they're coming to my room because they expect me to deliver. So I've got to be the number one speaker in that entire conference for that time period, and I better believe it. And so both of our rooms were packed. We were both standing room only, people on the floor, which is great, which was exciting for me, but I could have freaked out. And so we kind of do that when we make those calls. We kind of freak out. You got to put that scary person on a shelf and be ready to knock it out of the park. And that's so important in what we're doing in sales right now and the way the market is.
Sure. So what's something that our people, when they make that call, can say to take down the barrier pretty quickly?
Oh yeah, a couple of things. So in the beginning of the script, I like, first of all, I think some of the scripts that are out there right now are very hard, and it puts you in an awkward situation because that's not your word. So I have this thing that I found to be very helpful, which is called the RFO, which is the rejection free opener. And it starts off like this, and still have people going, gosh, I can't believe it worked. Hey, I'm not sure if you can help me. Right. So I start off with, hi, I'm not sure you can help me. I'm calling about 123 Main Street. Is that still for sale? Simple question. But everybody wants to help somebody. So it makes it easier for them to stay on the call. And it's so funny, today I was talking to someone in your market, and that went to our little session we had out there. And I said, what is it that you remember? Well, I remember that what you said in that rejection free opener, which is, hey, I'm not sure if you can help me. And here's the test, use it on everything. Go to a hotel, go to the grocery store, go to some front desk of any place you go to, or anybody that's servicing you, and go, hey, listen, I'm not sure you can help me. And watch how they zoom in on you. It's a very powerful thing when it's used correctly. You have to say it slowly, not, hey, I'm not sure you can help me. And they don't get it, but hey, I'm not sure you can help me. I just want to know, can I get to first class? Is there any way you can give me first class on this plane? or I'm not sure you can help me. I need to get transferred to another plane. You gotta and work it. I mean, that's part of selling. And I remember someone say, well, that's kind of like what she say? He said, Isn't that kind of like manipulation or not authentic?" And I go, well, um, no, because I'm a professional, and that's part of communication skills that you need to have to get people to relax with you. And since I'm in sales, that's my technique. If I was a doctor, I'd still have to do something like that so that I could operate on the person so people are not freaking out. And so it's usually someone who asks that question like that. And this is going to be really unfortunate, but they're probably not doing a lot of production. They're looking for excuses to get out doing what they need to do. And that's not what it's going to take in today's marketplace. You're going to have to move up. And I said something today in one of my little videos I did today. It was just, you've got to have better skills in a market like this. And it's typically going to be more than you ever thought. And whatever that is, if you could evaluate yourself a little bit, which is probably prospecting or lead generation, you're going to have to do more of it, but raise the level of skill so you do, as you said, have the right mindset to get into it, or the mindset for your family. If you got bills to pay, you better have the right mindset, because unless you want to have another job with a different script, like can I serve you ice cream today, or whatever that other script is, it could be that script because you're not doing the right one to help yourself and your family.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Um, so like high influence strategies make a difference between just a polite conversation where I'm like, oh yeah, 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 and a real commitment. So what are some of the most effective techniques that you teach for converting prospects into clients?
Um, I learned this from my attorney, who I give a lot of credit to because he did it to me. And we typically go way too fast. And first of all, number one, we've got to sound interested. I remember him calling me up at weird hours of the night because he works late. And I thought, you know how it is with an attorney, you think, well, the clock's running, he's just going to charge me. That's why he's doing this. And it ended up being over the years, and we've been together for 10 or 15 years, that's just his character. So I realized then that he really cared about me. And he would say stuff when I would be talking. He would go, Bill, can let me go back to what you said, because I want to get clarity on understanding what you just said. And so ever since that time of working with Richard Rosen, I started doing that more over the last 10 or 15 years when I work with someone, or if someone, let me go back and really understand what you just said. Now, just think about how that person feels. I know how I felt. He didn't let me get too far ahead, but he really want to understand me. If we want to really understand people, we're going to have to slow down and take good notes. You can't remember everything in a conversation. So I always have a yellow pad on me, like what I'm doing right now, to just kind of keep me on track of what I need to say. So Kara, you said this about this, and you said that about that. And do I got that right? Is there anything I might have missed?
Beautiful.
And you go, oh my
Beautiful.
gosh, I did it. I felt this guy is really helping me. And he always has, to the fact that I've given my son his number, and they're working together now. He's out in New York, but they're working together now on his business. No different than the referral that I would get if I do the same thing to someone else, and that comes to me. We have to elevate our ability. And again, you kind of tipped on that. Uh, your ability to show high influence, high authority right off the bat with good rapport, because we still got to be business. I know that Richard is not going to be my best friend. He's now an acquaintance in business. I like him a lot. I care about him. He did some amazing things for me. But the first relationship was of business and of influence and authority. And that's what we need to have first. If we go in and do what we call impression management, which, can I get a hug? And can I just see your dog? Can I pet your cat? Can I talk about everything else that has nothing to do with what I'm here for? Yes, there's a little bit of that you have to do. But if it's a lot of that, people just see you as a friend and a family member, and they do business with someone else. And then you get the dear Kara, the dear Bill, the dear John call.
That is so beautiful, and thank you for saying that for our listeners, because that is So many realtors are, I'm here to be your buddy and I'm going to listen to you. But here's the thing that you said that was just really powerful in all of that, but you didn't use the word. You have become an excellent listener.
Yes. And that's what I felt that Richard had when he talked to me. And I had to master that. Now, you guys could coach me at home because my wife would say, "You're not listening to me," and but in business, I work really hard, which is probably really bad that I do it that way. But you drop your guard a little bit. But in my class that I teach, this power prospecting class that I teach, I do a listening test. I give people a listening test, and it's amazing that how many people have failed the listening test. And it's amazing also how many people are actually good at it. And so when I take the test, they're kind of shocked. And then if you ever get a chance to see this video, it's really funny. It's on YouTube. Um, the screw in the head. If you ever get a chance to see the screw in the head video, I actually play it at my workshop, but it's about this. The husband and wife are on their sofa and they're talking, and you don't see her, you just see him, and he goes, "Honey, I understand your problem, but if you just take the screw out of your head, because she had a screw right here." And she goes, "I don't understand it. My sweaters get snagged and I have this pressure in my head." And he's just going, "Honey, you're not listening to me. It's not about the screw in my head." And so anyway, if you ever get a chance to go on, it's an old one, it's been around for a long time. I can't stop I laugh every time I see it because then after about he gets involved with it's like a 5 minute, 6 minute video. He goes, "You know what, honey, I understand how you feel." And and she goes, "Thank you," because he started changing his tone. And so um you listening is so important, and I have to work on it every day at home better, but in business I try to be really good at it, and I try to teach it. But you're absolutely 100% correct on that. Being a good listener is all part of this, because you don't know where am I going? Because selling at a high level, selling at high ticket, as being a high ticket salesperson, you're going to have to understand this is chess, not checkers. If you don't have the skill, you end up playing checkers, and all you're doing is jumping around, where chess is more strategic. You want to get to this point here, but there's going to be 4, 5, or 6 different ways of speaking to someone to get to that point so that they feel comfortable to speak to you. But if you're just jumping for the close real quick and you're all over the place, it's not going to be successful, or as successful as you'd like it to be.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So, mastery and habits. So, prospecting isn't a one time event, it's a discipline. How can someone create daily habits and systems so prospecting becomes second nature and their business thrives?
Um, I think that the pain of not doing it has to be greater than the pain of doing it. You've heard that before, right?
Sure.
Like I get guilty feelings, and even as a coach, I'm looking for great clients that are going to work with me and believe that I can help them, and I'm looking for that right person, because for many years in the beginning, I was really coaching the wrong person. They didn't want to run as hard, they didn't want to make the changes, and it becomes a real struggle. But today, after 20 some years of doing this, I start realizing that I've got to find that right person. So today I made some calls, and I want to know how to get better, and I watch my coach train me, and so it becomes a habit that you're going to have to block out. And it's funny, today also I did 2 videos. One was on the first subject that you just said, and then the second subject was on time management, to block out times. And I think we're such an ADD community of people in this industry that now it's become cool. I don't get that. But if you have that issue, you still need to do your job in a way that gets things done. So one of the greatest books that I picked up by on a video that I watched on an airplane years ago was a guy who talked about it was a lady who was a producer, and she goes, I'm all over the place, and I got to get this done and get this done. Something I'm staying up late, and so I picked up this book and I started listening to her video, and I read it, and I go, holy crud, this is the best time management book I've ever read for people who are scattered. And it was this book right here, The Pompadour Technique by
Okay.
Francis Cirillo. Okay, look how thick
Okay.
it is. Little book. And what happens is a Pompadora is he created it. It's a kitchen timer, tomato kitchen timer that he had. But what he was saying to you is that if you have problems focusing on time management to get certain things done, like prospecting, do it in 25-minute increments, which were pompadoras. A pompadour is 25 minutes. So you you do your thing for 25 and you take a 10-minute break to get refreshed, get some water, not to go do other things, just to get your mind ready for the next 25 minutes. So everything you do in your day is broken down in how many 25-minute increments you're going to be doing them in. And so he talks about distractions. He talks, but this has made major game changer for people who have problems with focus. Just do it in 20, like if you have a meeting and you got to meet with this person, you're going to meet with, that's two pompadours. That means you're going to take a 10-minute break in the middle and get yourself back on focus for another 25. And then if you're having distractions, you got to write down what those distractions are, because prospecting and lead generation has to be a planned event every day if you're in sales. I mean, if you're, listen, I coach financial advisors, Series 7, high wealth advisors, and they have the same problem that regular real estate agents have. They're not prospecting their database, they're not prospecting outside of it, and they're not scheduled in their day to do this. And they're dealing in, actually, real estate people make more percentages on money than a financial advisor does a Series 7, because they have to have millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in management to make a decent amount of money if you're running a firm. So if you have the opportunity to get the Pompadour technique, read it. And this is not an audio book, guys. We got to get back to buying the friggin' books so that you can mark them up and look at it, because this is not an audio book. It's just about what we just said. It goes into this here, and guess where it goes? And you don't change. By having a hard copy that you can actually touch and feel and mark up and put yellow things in it, and it's going to be very helpful for your brain to start absorbing and having, again, like you said, the right mindset for change.
It sounds an awful lot like Stephen Covey's Seven Habits of Highly
Habits of,
Effective People,
yeah, yeah.
where the old man would stop for, I don't remember. It was like half of the time he would stop and he would sit and he would sharpen a saw, and the other young man was just like, "Look at that
Why are you
old guy!
doing
I'm
that?
gonna kill him!" And his, the old man way outproduced him for doing what you just said, because I'm sure drivers are hearing what you're saying and going, "Oh God, 25 minutes, and then I'm gonna do nothing for 10 minutes." Yes.
Yeah,
That's what you're
yeah.
gonna do.
Like, I don't, and if you don't have that issue, just take some, just get your stuff done, but block them out in larger time. Like my day is broken up typically in three parts: lead generation, administration, and appointment time. Now I'm coaching too, so there's another fourth block, which is coaching. But if it's a normal sales day, it's lead gen, admin, and appointments. That is it. That's all you have to do. And in the admin time is when you do your meetings with your assistant. That's when you do your social media. That's when you're doing your processing your deals. But if you want to make more money, you're going to have to make those calls in a block of time. It could be a Pompadora, 25 minutes, or you take a 50-minute call session and take a 10-minute break so you could do it a different way. 50 minutes all at once, 10-minute break, next hour, 50 minutes, 10-minute breaks. But, you know, this. It's the way I learned how to do it. I mean, I learned how to do it. I was making calls to schools and universities and events when I was 20, 21 years old, having to make cold calls to these people to book entertainment or, event planning and all that kind of stuff for these people. I don't know any better. I just know that this little thing here can make you more money than anything you could spend. Yes, there are little blocks now that they're giving us and little things, but also it's this. Look, it's this thing and this thing and this thing. Cost you really doesn't cost much. You work on this, you learn how to use this, and you use this when you can. I guarantee it, you'll make more money than anything you spend money on.
It's
And
very,
a
very
coach.
true.
And a
Very
coach.
All right. So you already gave us one book. That is generally a question I ask towards the end is books or podcasts or anything that you listen to that influence you.
Yeah. Well, as we know, social media is a big deal thing, and I've been and when I and he's controversial. So I'm reading, I'm not reading, I watch things from my coach, I'm in his coaching program, but I'm also watching the stuff that he has. But Gary Vaynerchuk is pretty much in the leading edge of what's going on with AI, what's going on with social media. His delivery is a little rough, but he's been pretty accurate with that. And, he's a straight shooter. And then I'm a behavior science nut, so I love to read about the psychology of the sales process. So anything on that I could see. One book that I read that probably most salespeople will not get a hold of because I learned this when training with and I trained with some special forces guys and some Navy SEALs that were retired, but it was a way of talking, and it's the gentle art of persuasion. And the book has been around for very long. It's probably a 1970s book, but it's still used today. It's called Verbal Judo.
Okay.
And it's about how the police and people that are having to detain people use techniques to get information. And so it says, learn what never to say, engage people through empathy, listen better, and always be heard, stop verbal attacks in their tracks. And this was an interrogator who wrote this book. And I learned this from the guys that I trained with who said they use it. And then I found out a lot of salespeople use this too. But it's an old book. I can't even imagine what year it is because it's been around forever. But some of the stuff is like gold. We're just regurgitating some of the stuff over and over, and just trying to see what year this was. But it's 2013, so it wasn't that old. These are republished. So that's what I do, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. Awesome. And my final question for everyone, because you are on Think Your Way to an Epic Life, what tips or tricks do you have for our folks to think their way to their own epic life?
Um, while you are going through your path to get to wherever you want to go, you've still got to do things that are fun and exciting and different because you're waiting for that moment to happen. And, for some of us, it may not happen. Okay. Something happens and you're either taken off the planet or it just doesn't happen. But you could start now. I mean, I've done a lot of things. I'm embarrassed to tell you how many things I've done. And only because that people don't normally do that. They think you got to be a multi-millionaire to get it done. And, I've done a lot of interesting things in my life. I do drive my wife a little nutty because I love to play music and I love to train people on firearms, and I love learning. But you need to just do it right away. I love being on the water. I love paddle boarding and doing things, and then staying in shape
Yeah.
health wise. And Kara, you and I talk about that a lot. You can't do those extra stuff if you're not healthy, eating right, and physically being well. So those are important things. Keep yourself focused on your health, and do some fun things with your family that you've never thought about, and start doing it now. Don't wait.
Yeah, yeah. Do not wait for tomorrow because we might not be here.
That's right.
So we're very excited to welcome you into Albuquerque to do your power
Yep.
prospecting class, which is a 2-day class. What do you have the dates with you?
Yeah, the 29th and the 30th of September. We're ready to roll, and we've got it locked in. So we've got all kinds of information going out to people on that. And if you need information on that, and you could just you could email me at B as in boy, C as in cat, at path, P-A-T-H, the number 2 pro.net. BC at path2pro.net. I'll send you the link, sign up. But yeah, we're gonna deep dive in 3 areas: lead generation, lead conversion, and presentation skills, and what's needed today to keep your business consistent and being ahead of everybody else who's trying to do the same thing.
Yeah. And guys, I'm telling you, I've presented with this guy, but I have seen him present, and you will, you will walk away with what you need, and you'll have a great time doing it too.
Yeah,
He's a lot of fun. You
great.
really are. You're a great presenter.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything, Bill, that I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, I think you nailed it. I think it was great. I think it was
Okay,
perfect.
perfect.
Perfect. I had a good time, and thank you for offering to have me on.
Okay, it's been my pleasure. Thank you.